Okay. I'm never super sure how familiar my students are with Harry Potter. Years ago, I used to say Harry Potter, everybody get very excited. I think maybe, I mean, not everybody, I guess. Most people don't really read. But for people for nerds that read, like myself, Harry Potter was kind of a big deal. Maybe you saw the movies, I don't know. But there's a part, oddly enough, in the movie, but not in the book. But it's actually one of my favorite moments in all of Harry Potter. Um, it's at the end of the last movie. It's one of the final moments in the film. Is Dumbledore meets with Harry Potter in a kind of weirdo afterlife situation, and Dumbledore says to Harry Potter that words have this tremendous power um, to both cause pain and heal it. And it's just it's an idea about the power because words contain ideas, and the ideas can change how you see. They can change how you think. They can change your whole personality. They can make you. Somebody can say something that makes you feel better. I'm sure you guys have had this experience where somebody will say something and it just makes your whole day, and you're happy all day thinking about that nice thing. I get emails from students telling me that they're happy with my stupid blog videos. It makes me deeply happy because I'm lonely in here by myself, and it's fun to get some feedback from students. Leave a comment. I'd be very excited. Sorry, all my paperwork is flying everywhere. It's too windy. Um, it makes me very happy to sort of see people commenting. At the same time, I'm sure you've had something where somebody just said something, even just a couple of words that were kind of mean, and you thought about it all day, and it ruined your day. Maybe it ruined more than one day as you kept thinking about that mean thing that person said to you. So words are tremendously powerful, and Shakespeare knows that, and Iago knows it, and it's one of the most interesting things that happens in the play. Is the relationship between Shakespeare and Iago, which is a metaphor, and because they have things in common, and as well as the relationship, the idea that words are incredibly powerful, which is one of the most important ideas in the play. My students are often surprised how much of a good time I have watching Othello because I'm having fun, and they don't understand why because terrible things are happening to the characters on screen. But it's ideas like that that I find really interesting and important. Um, all right, so I think we're doing pretty good. So we've done again. Just always remember. Sometimes I'll forget, but always remember summary, irony, metaphor, ideas, and sound. Just try to look for those things in your reading and try to notice what they're doing because that is sort of it's how literature works. Um, for a lot of you guys, stories are like driving a car, and you can just you get in the car, you watch a story, whatever. What we're doing in this class is we're lifting the hood up off the car to see how it works. We're taking a look at how stories do what they do, and the way we do that is by looking at summary, irony, metaphor, ideas, and sound. Um, okay, cool. That's what the class is. We're sort of taking, it's like if you're interested in something, you might take it apart to see how it works. I guess we don't really do that anymore because iPhones are like, you can't really take them apart. But there are things you can take apart and see how they work, and this is one of those things. And author and audience, always to talk about why did the author make the story this way, and what do audiences get out of it. My students often go, audiences want stories so they can escape the real world. Awesome. Why this one? That's a great explanation for why people care about all stories everywhere. What I want to know is what are audiences getting out of this particular story? And you might not like Shakespeare, but boy, a lot of people spend a lot of time watching Shakespeare across 400 years. People seem to really like him. And so that's why Shakespeare's so popular. Even if you don't like him, you've got to at least try to imagine why people do. I mean, you can't just be like, I guess you could, but you can't just be like, everybody who likes Shakespeare's an idiot and they're all crazy and this is boring and they're all wrong. They think it's interesting. I think it's boring. They're wrong. It's not a good theory for something that so many people care about across so many hundreds of years. So, okay. The next thing I want to point out is really too difficult for class, and I should not be doing it. Um, it's only going to take a couple of minutes, and we'll move on quickly. But I mentioned those 5 key terms: summary, metaphor, irony, ideas, and sound. Sound is really too hard to teach, I find. I have a hard time doing it for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons sound is difficult. I remember that thing I did about rhythm and rhyme and the sounds of letters and how cellar door sounds very smooth, but washed sheets, washed sheets, washed sheets. It sounds that has no flow at all. The flow is broken up because you have to finish washed before you can start sheets, which is very different from cellar door, which sounds like one word. Um, Sound is difficult to teach. Sound is difficult to teach for a couple of reasons. Number one, because my students, I give them a lot of stuff to read, and it's a whole bunch of stuff to do. It's a whole other level of difficulty if, in addition to reading it and understanding it, I also need you to say it out loud clearly. And so I don't, and there's too many students in class to teach you how to do that. Like, I'd love to, if I only had 4 people in the class, I would make you guys read these speeches out loud, slowly, so you can hear exactly how they sound in your ear and feel how they feel in your mouth. But with 30 students, if I let everybody read for 2 minutes, that's an hour. And I just don't think that we only have like 40 hours to get 44 hours together. So I don't really think that's the best use of our time. Um, that said, sound is extremely important for how poetry works. And Shakespeare is a kind of poetry. The characters speak sort of like poetry. They don't rhyme usually, but there's a certain number of syllables per line, and there's a certain rhythm to it. Shakespeare's also very good, really the best in the world at having something sound, how do I put this? Where the sound matches the sense, meaning the thing he's talking about, the subject matter, the content, the sound is the right sounds to go with that content. So if you're talking about something that flows like a river, you want to use words that sound like cellar door because it flows. And if you're talking about something clunky like a battle, you want to use a lot of words that sound like washed sheets because it sounds jagged. This is really too complicated, and I'm almost regretting bringing this up. But we can spend 3 minutes on this; it won't kill us. One of my favorite sentences in all of Shakespeare, not because of metaphor, not because of irony, not because of summary or psychology, and not because of ideas. I just like it because I think it sounds cool. Now, will you be able to hear how cool it sounds? I have absolutely no idea. It's something that requires a little bit of training in, and we don't necessarily have time for the kind of training. But let's take a look. Maybe you'll have a breakthrough and you'll be like, oh shit, I totally understand what the professor is talking about. So let's give it a shot. It's one sentence. Iago, Othello has been up all night. I'm sorry, I'll set the scene. This is the part of the movie where Othello's on the rocks in the water, and Iago comes to talk to him, and they get in a fight, and Othello's screaming and yelling about, I wish I didn't know my wife was cheating on me, you've ruined my life. He tries to drown him, and Iago's like, oh, thanks a lot. I only told you because I loved you. I didn't even want to tell you, man. I'm not even going to be friends with you anymore. Of course, he's lying because he's fucking with him. But the scene is, this sentence is Iago sees Othello by the rocks in the water. He knows that Othello hasn't slept all night because he's up worrying about whether his wife is cheating on him. And this is what he says. Iago says, um, he says, not poppy nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou odest yesterday. Mandragora and poppy are drugs that you could use to go to sleep. They're sleeping drugs to get a good night's sleep. He says that neither poppy nor mandragora nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee, meaning like they're not going to be able to act like medicines to make you go to sleep because you're so upset about this thing where you're worried your wife's cheating on you. You're never going to be able to get a good night's sleep again, even if you take powerful sleeping potions. Even if you take NyQuil, you're not going to be able to fall asleep. Even if you take Benadryl, you're not going to fall asleep. You're going to be up because you can't sleep because you're worried about your wife. Now, here's the part that's too advanced for us that I'm going to do anyway. Listen to it again. All right. Not poppy nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou odest yesterday. Right? Like, if you skip a night of sleep, no drug is going to make you sleep so soundly you can make up for being up all night. Right? There's no way to when you lose sleep, you can't really recover it. It's gone forever. So I'm trying it again. Here's the thing. It just sounds cool. It sounds, because it's about sleepiness, it's about drowsiness, it's about going to bed, and it sounds, the drugs are like syrups, like NyQuil is a syrup, and they make you get sleep, and so the words sound syrupy, they sound lovely and beautiful, like they almost, the words almost make you want to go to sleep. Nobody's going to be able to hear this, but let's try it anyway. Maybe I'll get lucky and someone will be excited. Nor poppy nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou odest yesterday. Not poppy nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou odest yesterday. Neither poppy nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world. Do you hear it? The vowels, the consonants, the flow, nor all the drowsy syrups. Doesn't it sound like going to sleep? I know it's because I'm exaggerating a little bit because of the way that I'm saying it out loud, but neither nor poppy, nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world. It's not washed sheets, is it? It's more like cellar door, but it's more like solar door. It makes you go to sleep. It sounds, I don't know, that's it. I feel stupid saying this, but it is a thing. It's just hard to hear. Okay, pick it up in the next video.